Open quick, put that pussy on his lid.
Probably gonna have to edit that out. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again in the car. Wearing all black today. I got the black hat, the black shirt, the black shorts, the black shoes. I'm in mourning. If you watched my last video, my manhood is no longer in existence. Rest in peace, everybody. But I felt good sometimes. I know I got a lot of positive comments off of that, and that's why I hate doing mini rant videos. A lot of times there's things on my mind, and to be honest, it just helps to talk about things. And I'm laughing and smiling just because it sounds so bad, and I feel like such a little puss about it, but it's cool, and I really appreciate the feedback you guys give me, positive or negative. It's always really cool to put up some video where, you know, something's bothering me a little bit. I do have feelings, not very many, but I do have some. Need to get a firmware update, I suppose. But as part of that, it's always reassuring to see some real positive comments back. And that was my phone, don't check yours. Side rant, I hate when that happens. It's always reassuring to get some positive feedback, and I appreciate that. But I'm all good now. Again, sometimes it just helps to have a good cry session. So we're outside the gym. It's Saturday. Motherfucker, leave me alone. Jesus Christ. Max, tell your mom to stop texting me. It's getting a little ridiculous. But, so today's Saturday. Yesterday, did squats, did bench. I'm actually gonna do some deadlifts today, Saturday. And I'm going to be doing some sumo deadlifts. At least I think I'm going to do that. We'll see how my hips hold up. I'm gonna switch it up just a little bit, work on some sumos. When I was working with Dan and it was integrating sumos as part of my routine, that's when I pulled my heaviest conventional that I ever pulled. So I'm gonna do that, try to strengthen the hips a little bit. And we're gonna get to it, and probably not stay that too long. Probably just do deadlifts and get out, just because it's Saturday and I got a lot of stuff going on. But we'll check you guys inside. All right, so jumping right into things, you can see myself rubbing my pelvis. Yes, getting those things warmed up for this whopping 135 pounds. You can see, even trying to get myself tight, the weight starts coming off the floor a little bit, and I'm really trying to focus on getting my knees out. I'm going to have to spend a lot of time getting to do this. Ideally, I want my knees pointed out a little bit further so my shins are more vertical. You can see the angle of my leg is a little bit diagonal right now, so I want to get these straight, but again, practice makes perfect. So from here, we jumped up 50 pounds using those bumper plates instead of using the actual 25 right now, simply to make me feel better about myself. Yes, guilty as charged. I'm not going to try to hide it or deny it. But again, the goal here was to work on form and just get this down for feel. And I think I did a fairly good job doing so. Now, part of this, you guys can actually see the progression that not only did I use today, but this is also very similar to my warm-up progression. So whenever I do squats or deadlifts, I always start with 135. Then in most cases, I'll jump up either by 25s or 45s, and I'll continue to do that until I get to a pretty close percentage of my actual working weight for the day. So in this case, just jumped up 25s, then went to 45s, then back to 25s, and so forth. In this case, I kind of gave up the bumper plates just because it becomes more pain in the ass, only because I have to lift up the actual end of the barbell here in order to get those weights on, so I figured I'd save myself some energy. And then also, speaking of energy, just decided to go with the normal iron plates here as well for 315. And when I got here, I started just doing sets of 3. Again, nothing to really kill myself, just really trying to get the repetition and the overall volume up. We then moved on to 365, again for a set of 3. Now this first rep on a lot of these are having similar issues to what I have when I pull conventional, so again, still something I want to work on. But overall, I'm very happy with how this went. I feel my form is solid, I feel my back's a lot better. I probably built better for this, although I do feel a lot more powerful in the conventional pull. But that's something I'm just going to continue on, again, get my hips up and healthy and stronger overall. Back outside the gym! It's time to lift. So today is Monday, and I believe I'm going to be combining this with my Saturday footage, which was deadlift. So Monday, I'm gonna squat and bench again, I'm pretty sure. So I squatted on Friday, I squatted on Thursday. So this will be my 3rd squat session in 5 days, I believe. So the feels are going to be very real within my hips. But I'm going to be doing more of a recovery type workout, so what I'm going to do in that sense, I think, is keep the weight light, keep the reps higher, just kind of get the motion of the ocean down, which is very important for me because the size of the boat doesn't really constitute everything, if you know what I'm saying. But we're gonna go in and hit some light squats, at least that's the plan so far, and then maybe try to work on some heavier bench. I don't know, we'll see how we'll feel. Again, the real thing I'm trying to do right now is just build my work capacity, so just trying to get it in, so to say, as much as possible, which most of you are trying to do outside the gym as well. You young stallions, you. It's also a little bit colder here in Rhode Island. The weather has been pretty chilly the last couple of days. I got the sweatshirt rocking. I was actually at an MLS game on Saturday night. The New England Revolution played the Montreal Impact, and I don't really consider them a good team. I don't think Montreal is a very good franchise in that sense just yet. Stick to hockey, guys. But I was out in the rain all the time. It was wet, and I got a little chilly. I don't think I've really recovered since, but we're gonna go in and, like I said, squat. So I'm rambling on, and I have the tendency to do that on squat and lower body days because I try to avoid that as much as possible. So enough yapping out of me. Let's go in and do some work. Go Revs. So this, ladies and gentlemen, I call the Max tuning shot because he likes to throw in these random shots of the weights he's using like it's anything impressive. And here you get to see my whopping 225 pounds. So again, as I already stated, just really working on volume here. I spent a long time warming up my mobility, doing a lot of those frog stretches, things with bands, all stuff you guys can find if you search my channel for mobility. It'll pull up several videos of what I do for a lower body. A lot of you guys have requested upper body work as well. I'll try to do that, although I don't spend as much time warming that up. I'm also rocking the SBD sleeves here right now around my calves. I had the intention of eventually pulling them up and putting them around my knees, but I just never really felt I had to. Or had the need to. Get it? Need? I know. Pretty good. Even I'm impressed. But what I did here with these squats are 5 sets of 8 with just 225. I wasn't really worried about anything, just rather than getting the reps done, just going down as far as I felt comfortable. And for these, my thighs are really rubbing against my calves, and that's impressive, number one, because that's pretty low for me. And number two, I don't even have calves, so it's impressive that I can actually rub my thighs and my hamstrings against it, I guess. Got to look at the silver linings in some cases. Before this, just wanted to grab a bunch of different angles so you guys can see. I'm more than happy with this depth. This is fine. I'm not looking to necessarily scrape my ball sack against the floor, although that might be nice for a little bit of the attention and a little bit of feeling I get out of it. In the end, as long as I'm below parallel, which I am here, I'm okay with. And I really started to think, you know, after that last video where I bitched and complained and moaned about my depth, it really doesn't matter because in all the meets I've done, I don't think I've gotten a single red light. So as long as I'm hitting depth at the meets, I think that's all I really have to go off of. Now when I start going back to competitions and if I get red lighted, then it's going to be something that's going to bother me more. But until then, I'm just going to try not to sweat it. And I'm going to really try here, but we'll see how that goes. Also, if you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted a funny comparison, at least in my opinion, of wearing these SBDs and the black socks and Nike Romaleos because they look very much like Uggs. So I posted a side-by-side pic, so if you follow me on Instagram, go check it out, let me know what you think. If you don't follow me on Instagram and you want to, I always link that in the description box as well as some other links that I find helpful or useful or people that I really like to follow in terms of Forged Iron training, Citadel nutrition, things of that nature. Now, as far as the rest time between sets go, today I didn't take that long whatsoever, probably about a minute or two if I were to time it. I get this question all the time, how long do you rest between sets? To be honest, I don't time it ever. I don't have a set time. What I do is I take as long as necessary until I feel ready to go again. And for those strength training days, it might be 5 minutes or so. But in this case where I'm just doing some recovery work where lightweight, high reps, honestly just probably took about a minute. From there, we moved on to some front squats. So I did 3 sets of 5, just filming the first set here. Again, just keeping the weight static at 225. I was pretty happy with this set considering that I felt my torso was really staying more upright than it's been. So that's a very strong sign for me, and I'm happy to go with that. Now, I also stated I wanted to get some bench work in, so that's exactly what I did. I wanted to show you guys my setup. So I'm trying to experiment with having my feet up first, getting a little bit narrow of a grip, getting that set, then pulling my glutes up and squeezing them together and really trying to force my weight onto my traps, and then kind of setting my feet from there. I'm kind of trying to work on the pause too. You can see if you pay attention to my thighs and crotch area, which of course you're paying attention to as is, you can actually see some flexion going on there as I'm trying to really force that bar and force some leg drive into this. And I feel this narrower grip allows me to do so, as you see a lot more movement in my pelvic region than you're probably used to. You're welcome, ladies. So for this particular session, I didn't go as heavy as I initially imagined in the car. I think part of that was I was much more fatigued than I had thought, not to mention there wasn't really anybody available to spot me, so instead just worked with some numbers to see how everything felt. And what I ended up doing was kind of a slow progression, 225 for 3, 245 for 3, 265 for 3, before finally getting to my heaviest working set for this particular day, which is 275 for 3.
On these sets, it looks like I can do a little bit better job of tucking my elbows. I'd like them in a little bit more, but overall I'm pretty happy with how all these sets went. Like I mentioned, actually felt like I was using a little bit of my legs and leg drive, and I got all the reps required. As always, thanks for watching, and stay big.